Let's swatch this vintage Chanel Vamp from 1994 and also compare it to the modern, currently available Rouge Noir I just purchased. A lot of people believe that Vamp was discontinued, but in reality they just call it by its French name these days. Now there was another version of Vamp that had the tiniest inclusion of mica shimmer to it, but that was from later in the 90s and in my opinion it was inferior. The earliest version is the most iconic. But before we swatch, let's compare the boxes. Chanel stopped using the prominent Vernis Lac text in 1994, so that's how we know that this is the original. I really love how they've kept their little black box in the same bottle shape since they launched nail polish in the 70s. But let's look at the bottles themselves. Once you take off the overcap component, the original is more narrow and has tighter ridges. The newer version has larger ridges for your pleasure in opening. As for the caps, the older one is simply printed with the logo and you can see the center dot, a tell for how they manufactured the plastic caps. It doesn't look as nice. The new one is improved with better plastic molding and it has a more luxury embossment. But let's go ahead and do a full manicure with the original before we do a side-by-side comparison. This bottle actually had never been used before, which is crazy because people had to wait on lists to get this shade when it first launched and for several months afterwards. To just understand how hyped this polish was, one Bloomingdale's store had a 10,000 person deep waiting list. This polish was really one of the first to have this level of hype, and it opened up the doors to other brands that would emerge out of the opportunity it created, like Hard Candy in 1995 and Urban Decay in 96. And there were many mainstream brands that would also follow suit with bold color. Even though Chanel didn't invent this color, it came at the right time when consumerism, pop culture, and fashion collided in a way it had never done before in the nail polish industry. But let's go ahead and reapply the original to half of the nail and leave some room for the modern version to compare next to it. The modern version, of course, has a much wider brush, but it does apply a lot more evenly, so in theory you could get away with one coat of it. The original definitely needs a second coat so that we don't have any bald spots. The second coat on the modern side does darken it considerably in this lighting, which is how the eye would see it in most lights like this or dimmer. They really don't look that different. We'll add some top coat and then check it out under the brighter lights to notice differences more scrutably. And we can see a difference now, but it's more minute than you'd expect after 31 years. The original is just a touch lighter and slightly browner, but if you compare the ring and pointer, they don't look that different. So if you want that 1994 Chanel Vamp experience, just buy Rouge Noir. And if $33 is too expensive for you, and that is a little expensive for a nail polish, you can just look at what other brands are doing. They mostly all have variants of this. If you have any special memories of Chanel Vamp in the 90s, please share, and if you have any vampy go-to shades, I'd love to hear about them. Thanks so much for watching.